Hello and welcome to another Captain's Table episode 1 of 2024. I'm going to start calling these this. I guess we started in 2016, so what would be this is the 8th season of Captain's Table. So, and no, there are no specific number of episodes. Like last year, I think we got to 2023. We got to like episode 36 or something like that. But there've been some Captain's Tables where I've gotten to like 50 over the 50 mark or like 47 and stuff like that. It really depends on like how many we have a year and such. And it's not always exactly the same.
Tell me, what's the theme of the 8th season?
I'm
what's
tired,
happening?
boss. The theme of the 8th season is I'm tired, boss. I'm just so tired. Please, CIG, release something.
You're fucking tired. You want me to tell you how my fucking 2024 started? Like, I mean, you're laughing, but I'm not. They found my roommate dead.
Really?
Yeah, he fucking died.
Damn, that sucks.
My coffee pot died. My fucking headphones died. That's why I'm wearing these, because my other set of earbuds died. So I'm looking to pull Rip Van Winkle, just sleep till 2025. Like, damn, Jesus Christ.
Fuck, dude.
So,
yeah.
For this season on Captain's Table, look forward to Paul having a breakdown, everything dying with HC Vertigo, and does CIG release something or not?
Yeah, maybe. All right, so first off, let's get started with introductions. We're going to start with Zarrk. Zarrk, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I'm just a normal backer. You can find me on Paul's Discord. I'm usually just playing the game, finding things that don't belong in the hands of certain people, and rescuing them.
Okay. And Vertigo, the Sultan of Salt, the Salt King of Stanton, Sultan of the Stanton Sultan. Yeah, there we go. That works.
Yeah, Paul, you got it.
Who are you?
Like I said, it's been a while since I've been on the podcast.
It has
been. We're trying to. Yeah,
it has been. At one point, you reached out and were like, "Paul, I haven't been on Captain's Table," and I was like, "Yeah, like 3 months. That's unusual. Like, Vertigo's usually like every other week sometimes."
Yeah. There was a point where Paul was telling me, like, Vertigo, I can't have you on this week. I don't do co-hosts.
Yeah.
It's like literally like once every week or something at that point. We gotta give time to other people. Who am I? I am, as Paul said, the Sultan of Salts, not the Sultan of Salt. I am the Sultan of Salt. I do a lot of Star Citizen on my channel. We do a little bit of content variety streaming. You can find me over at HC Vertigo on YouTube, HC Vertigo on Instagram. I don't do Twitter anymore for reasons. Also, Twitch, HC Vertigo on Twitch. Do a lot of sci-fi stuff. Nice. We're doing a little game called Dyson Sphere Project. It's a little indie game that's it's like Factorio, except you're building a Dyson Sphere around a star, and it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it. If you like Factorio, Satisfactory has kind of those kind of same vibes.
Nice. So, all right. So, the theme of today, because I didn't know if I was going to be doing one for this week or not. So, I had to come up with a good theme for discussion. But since we had Zarrk and Vertigo on, and I know Vertigo is much more involved in the gameplay, and what I mean by that is Vertigo actually plays the game, which is like sounds weird, but that's a shrinking number of people who actually play the game, who actually play on a regular basis.
Show me a Star Citizen streamer. I will show you a variety streamer.
Yeah.
Everybody breaks with Star Citizen at some point because it just eats. It's like an ear. It's like that fucking worm in Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan where they dropped it into the guy's ear and it eats his fucking brain. Yeah. It's like that. That's Star Citizen sometimes for you. It just takes over your fucking life and you're just like, I can't take it anymore.
And it would help if CIG had good gameplay loops. And other things, something that was more than 3 to 4 hours, especially if you're streaming for 8+ hours. And I know a lot of friends of mine
sandbox activities, base building, explorations, random exploration bullshit.
And I was going to say that I know a lot of content creators who do make content who would love to play Star Citizen, but there's just not enough content for them to come back in on a regular basis and play.
Or the content you want to do is so frustrating sometimes to take part in. It's just, I feel for people that do large group stuff in Star Citizen, like Detox and Burks, occasionally Captain Richards. You try to get a group of people together, and like not only do you have to deal with like the herding cats kind of stuff in MMO, like getting everybody to do that, get everybody ready, make sure everybody has the equipment they need. And Star Citizen is one of those MMOs that just by default doesn't respect your time. It takes a lot of preparation to get stuff going. But then you realize you have a group of 50 people, 50 or more people, and every one of those people could have their own little version, their buggy version of Star Citizen they're playing. They randomly crash out. They can't pull their ships out. They can't access their inventories. They spawn in. They fall to their deaths. Their character just randomly has a heart attack. Desync invisible players. Today, we were kind of experimenting with the new inventory system, those big cargo boxes where you could put stuff in and drop them in your ship. I found out if someone gives you something using those cargo boxes, you cannot equip anything. You cannot equip that stuff to your ship. That is a bug. That happens.
Yeah.
Someone gave me the Best in Show Corsair paint because I was flying the Corsair. It's actually a pretty good ship right now. A lot. And they're like, hey, Vertigo, here's the Best in Show skin that I have that I'm not using. You can have it and show it off on your channel. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I would love to do that. Wouldn't equip no matter what I did to it. So, yeah, like I said, sometimes Star Citizen fights you, and it's not very fun when it does.
Zarrk, you were going to say something real quickly? Because we're just kind of getting this kind of intro.
Thing is, I say most of us are already pretty hardcore considering we've playing the game for so long and considering what it is. But after 10 years, it's now even, probably 10 years, no matter how you look at it.
Almost 11, yeah.
If I take a look at other games, other MMOs that are released fully, like Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14, I take more breaks from those games than I do from Star Citizen, actually.
Okay.
Even though they are fully fleshed out. So the thing is, we've played this game so long, and the main issue is, even though we have more gameplay loops, the core problem, in my opinion, is that we don't have the full persistence. That's what's holding most of the game back, because it makes so many things so much easier if you can just say, I log out here, if I log back in, I'm still standing there.
Same place, yeah.
Same place, same situation.
So the reason why I bring this up is because the theme for today is what is actually going to be in the game in 2024. We can talk about separation of the replication layer and server meshing and, what was it? Vulkan API. And we can talk about all of these things till the cows come home and how they're going to be good for Star Citizen and so on and so forth. But none of that matters if the players themselves aren't improving or engaging or getting an experience out of the game. So with all of this in mind, what is in the game? What kind of gameplay? What kind of game is Star Citizen going to be for the people who play the game this year? That's the sort of theme we're going to go for. And Vertigo, since you started, since you're the last person to introduce, I want you to start for us. What for sure? What do you think, based off of what you know? What are some of the things you know for sure that are going to be coming in 2024? Things that you were, or maybe not for sure because it's CIG, and CIG could throw the table and say none of this, not everything we said is wrong. We're starting over again. But I mean, things that you are fairly certain will make it into 2024.
Engineering gameplay they showed off at CitizenCon looked fairly fleshed out enough to make me believe that maybe the RIC system, the resource item controller system, is maybe further along or far enough along that it may be applied to like certain very specific ships. I feel like that's going to be in there this year. I'm looking through this list you post. A lot of this stuff is like updates and whatnot. What exactly is like planetary improvements, right? That's just one of those things. Like, we've added more rocks, so it's now more pain in the ass to drive the Nova tank over terrain.
Well, that's a good point. A lot of the stuff that CIG is doing are updates, like the space star map updates, the Mobiglass updates, the like flight system updates. It's not really new stuff. It's more like updates. Where
we finally got around to updating the UI to something that already exists. So now the presentation is changed to be a little bit more user friendly or a little bit more immersive.
Like character creation, that kind of thing.
I was talking about something I think is coming in this year that I definitely believe is coming in this year. Cargo elevators. And we were talking about how CIG is going to present cargo delivery at outposts, because how does it work at outposts right now, Paul? You just appears in your ship,
Magic.
Cargo Interruptus. It's just like a Harry Potter spell, Cargo Interruptus, and suddenly just boom, it's in your cargo hold. We already have the cargo dispensers in Star Citizen right now. They're in the Reclaimer, they're in the Vulture, they're in Jumptown. So CIG just has to create different versions, or they could just copy paste those into an outpost, like a wall somewhere.
Yeah.
And you walk up to the trade terminal, you order your cargo, you walk over, you tell the dispenser what kind of cargo, what form factor you want dispensed. A 1 SU container, a 1x2, a 4x4, an 8x8, 8 SU container, 16,
I'm gonna play
32.
something. Well, have you seen that meme of the frog with the carrot where it's like bleh?
No.
If you heard the term, if I played you the sound bite, it's really just literally cargo going bleh, just like burping out cargo from infinity. It's still magic, but it's now at least you can see it coming out. It just doesn't that's what Chris Roberts doesn't want. He doesn't want stuff to just teleport or appear in Star Citizen. That's why we have hangars. So you call your ship in, it appears, it teleports into the hangar, but you're not there to see it teleport in. You have to take the elevator over there. Same with cargo. He doesn't want cargo to simply just appear magically. That's why we're going to have cargo elevators. And with cargo elevators, they're going to have to refactor how cargo is delivered at outposts. And like I said, they already have the dispensers. They exist. So CIG could just copy paste those dispensers somewhere at the outposts.
And the only thing they would have to add is you can put things into the dispenser.
Yeah,
to unload your cargo.
I mean, you just have to reverse the. They already have a latching system for cargo with the cargo grid system, and you just have to reverse the animations. That's it, and it just goes into the dispenser. Door closes, disappears, gets added to your inventory. And so I think physicalized cargo is coming this year, probably pretty quickly too.
Is there anything else that you can you can think for sure is going to make it in?
Oh man. I don't know about Maelstrom, but I'm not going to talk about a lot of these improvements and whatnot. But I definitely think we're going to see a lot more graphic stuff. Maybe Vulcan at the end of this year. But a lot of this stuff is kind of really questionable. Okay, what is planetary improvements? What is that? DLSS, FSR, probably, maybe not. I don't think it's definite.
Okay. I mean, do you think that's going to actually have an impact though? Stuff like that will actually have an impact when it comes in.
Like DLSS?
Will people care if DLSS?
Yeah, I think it will. There's people with high-end hardware, and DLSS does help with performance depending on how the developers, integrate it into the game. So, I think some people will be very happy for it. There's people who are desperate to try to bootstrap that stuff into Starfield just to make Starfield look slightly better. But yeah, I definitely think it'll help with visual fidelity and help with performance a little bit depending on what settings you use.
Okay. Zarrk, what do you think is for sure you're not for sure, but you were fairly confident is going to make it into the game this year?
Okay, so first of all, what comes into this game this year, I would split into 4 categories, roughly.
Okay.
So we get balance updates, we get quality of life improvements, we get gameplay additions and gameplay experience updates. The old balance updates will be nice. They might change some things. I'd say most of the weapon recoil stuff and all those things, they are pretty much guaranteed to make it in. It's not hard to do. Most things will be ported over from Squadron. No problem. The first interesting thing I see coming rather soon starts with the quality of life mobiGlas update.
Okay. So you're pretty sure that they'll come this year?
Definitely.
Okay.
The thing is, CIG knows how much we hate the mobiGlas, how much we hate the star map.
I think CIG hates both of those things too.
Yeah.
They've gone on record saying they hate it.
They might not hate it as much as we do, but they hate it. They know how much we hate it, and it was pretty much done. I say what was missing mostly netcode and some things relevant for multiplayer. So I see the Moby-Glass update coming quite soon, probably Q1, latest Q2, my guess.
Okay.
And they seem very eager to bring those things in. Some other things with the slice of life,
or life improvements, quality of life improvements,
quality of life improvements.
I wish we could get a Star Citizen slice of life. That I'd be down for that. We get some good comfy content for Star Citizen. You know,
we could do a Captain's Table Slice of Life edition once base building is in.
Yes,
within the museum
perfect.
or something. But yeah,
so
there's some other things, minor things, like character creation that might make it in. I'm pretty confident because Hair's already in the other stuff.
I was about to say Hair's in. I think character creation is going to get. We're probably see it at CitizenCon this year.
Latest I say, and that will make it a lot easier, especially if you can save your character and reload it in. Quality of life.
Okay.
It's nothing big. It's not that big, but simpler things. Gameplay-wise, the first interesting parts I say is wear and tear, which should make it in.
Okay.
And because now we have to care about our equipment, which will change a lot of things.
I have to stop you right there because technically wear and tear is already in the game.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's not noticeable. That's the thing.
This goes back to like persistence. Like you have to the ship you're in. I flew Corsair for like 4 days, and the skin looked like absolute shit after a while. Yeah. And I noticed my guns were firing slower. And I showed everybody, if you go to the heat MFD and you look at the items, there actually is a little gear icon that shows you how much wear your components have. So I think what Zarrk is talking about is wear and tear for FPS items. So a lot of stuff is starting to get the wear and tear system.
I'm not even sure if it remains to FPS items, but I think it will also get a sort of rebalance, so you really notice it. Because right now the wear and tear in the game is negligible.
But it's also like with the wear and tear, it's kind of more like even. Like when they add the new resource distribution center system stuff into distribution center, the new resource systems they're adding.
I call it the RIC system.
The RIC system makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the resource item controller.
The resource item controller. The RIC will have things like heat management, distribution, power management, and those things will start playing a little bit more into how things that'll change the dice rolls as to what breaks in your ship or not. So you know,
part of the problem with like the current wear and tear system is like most people don't have their ships last long enough to notice it.
Yeah,
like it takes legit several days of gameplay, like 6 hours a day, before you even start noticing like deterioration in like your ship's components. Or it takes like several hours of gameplay before you even start noticing like paint flecks start coming off.
Yeah.
It used to be usually get like a 30K. Usually lose the ship through like some sort of PvP.
Yeah.
Ship crash. You crash into a station or something. Something
the ship
happens.
Just disappears for no reason. You know.
Yeah.
So
and it plays in with the whole engineering gameplay, which, as you said, Vertigo, I assume we will get. And the last part is now the gameplay experience, and I think there's only one big thing that will happen that really changes everything: full persistence. Not even server meshing. I'm not sure if server meshing gets in or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not holding my breath this year for server meshing. I think next year, maybe around Christmas time.
It looks good, so theoretically it can happen. Problem is, we are in the realm of black magic. I have no idea what the rules are. So I stick with full persistence. We will see that this year, and that will change a lot of things because now you have to think differently. It's not that you have a new gameplay loop, but now your ship is persisting. Now your ship gets wear and tear. Now your equipment persists, gets wear and tear. You need to repair those things. You need to care for those things. You aren't spawning at the station anymore when you log out.
Yeah, I what you're saying is, just going to clarify, just because people don't know, is that like if you were on, say, Daymar and you logged out or you crashed on Daymar for whatever reason, and you're just like, I'm done with this game, you know, fuck you, I'll see you tomorrow, Star Citizen. That kind of experience. when you come back, when you log back in, you're still on Daymar, on your ship. The ship is still there, instead of having you teleport back to your last location. That's what Zarrk is talking about. That kind of thing. So no more teleportation, which means, and I agree, that's a huge change, because that's going to require a complete remap of how you think about the game, because it's so easy just to go, I'm just going to log out so I don't have to lose anything, and then I'll pop back in this where. So go ahead.
But yeah, that's, I think, the main task I guess CIG will complete and deliver to us this year.
Okay. I'm going to kind of echo, I think, with what a lot of what y'all said. I do think there's one thing that's not on here that probably will happen, almost certainly, is we're going to get new missions, because Elliot is still working, and Elliot's team is still going, and all of the sandbox teams are still there, and with the integration of the Montreal team into the NAPU team, the NAPU team, we're going to get more stuff. Just more stuff, more things to do, and improvements on that. And part of that is
Paul,
yeah.
With new missions, yes, we will get them, but I don't rank them highly in terms of importance right now.
Okay.
Because from my experience, even if I do missions, it takes a long time to get the reputation. Right now, especially with crashes, you take a mission, you crash, you lose some reputation, and so on and so forth. And many of the things for the missions to be really good, like let's go for the distribution centers. Raid on a distribution center would be an awesome mission. Right now, borderline unplayable in my opinion. Simply due to missing persistence, getting the guys together. I mean, we had it in the pre-show. Hoarding your 20 guys, getting them together, everyone having a stable connection, going in, no one crashes, the server doesn't die. Hope that the AI works. That's already a lot. So even if the missions come in, I don't see them as relevant for many people. If they are simply piggybacking onto existing loops. If we have a new gameplay loop that comes in, for example, science, and we get some missions for that, that's a different thing. If we get another FPS mission, I'm not that excited.
Here's my my pitch, because this is something that Elliot wouldn't shut the fuck up about back in September, which is when it was first reported that they were working on cargo missions. And they have been working on cargo missions for about almost a half a year now. So, and it's been on that list. It's one of the next big things they've been working on. So I think, along with the cargo elevators, and I think also we'll definitely get instance hangars, persistent hangars kind of thing, not personal hangars, but I think along with those, we will get cargo missions. And that's going to be a big thing, because that'll bring a lot of folks who've been waiting for, I want to be able to pick up random cargo missions and take it from point A to point B. You know, the whole reason why the whole series exists is not for you to buy commodities and sell that commodity. It's to take missions like that to pick up those cargo and then move that cargo from point A to point B. That's what that ship is designed to do. Not commodity trading, but mission delivery. Space trucking, yeah. I think
that's what the courier class is for us too. CIG has several classes of ship that are classed as couriers. You're designed to take missions and deliver things. You go to a place, you pick up some stuff, and you deliver it to someplace. Like the Avenger Titan, that's a courier ship.
Yeah, same with the Hercules. Same with the Corsair. Well, I guess the Corsair is technically considered an explorer.
Explorer.
Yeah.
Explores the contents of other people's cargo holds.
And it's kind of a both. It's a courier and an explorer, because it can also be done. But like the Caterpillar is also a courier. You know,
after you explore something, you need to deliver those things.
You need to bring those back for scientific research.
I don't think CIG understands what delivering actually is. You know, they always have troubles delivering, right, Paul?
they do have problems delivering. There's the
cargo loop. It would explain the cargo loop.
But I do think that's going to be the big feature that's going to come in at least the first half of the year, maybe for the entire year, is really going to be focusing on cargo. Because that was one of the things that Chris said many years ago, was that he wanted to focus, before 4.0 came out, he wanted to see salvage, cargo, and bounty hunting. Those three things come into the game. And now we have salvage to it's a jank, but it's in. And the last thing of the bounty hunting, which was nowhere in sight. Like there's not even like references to it.
But I am extremely pleased with the fact that the Reclaimer is no longer a paperweight, and
yeah,
the new buffer system for salvage is great on both ships, the Reclaimer and the Drake Vulture. The new hull munching is fine. People are like complaining about the beams. I'm so exhausted by CIG just not having enough gameplay in the game. I'm okay with beams now. Like I just don't care. Just get it done, right? Just make it fun and get it done.
Beams.
I have always been a zealot for Beam Citizen. Beam Citizen. The main reason why I like Beam Citizen is for that reason. It's like it gives the ability for CIG just to get stuff done. So now it adds gameplay. And as much as I know people hate like not having tactile interaction, it's like this allows you to play the game, and you can actually have some complicated. Like if you've done medical systems recently, the auto medical thing, the auto like fix problem on the medical gun, it will kill you. If you try to use the auto, it will just kill you because it doesn't tell you to stop. You have to stop when it stops. So you have to kind of know what medicine does what, and you have to give a certain amount. And so like you can do a scan, but you kind of have to have a little bit of skill in knowing what you're doing, especially in, if you're in the middle of a firefight and things are flying around everywhere, and you're just like, hey, can you fix my leg? And they're like, maybe? So.
I mean, and just for all those. Sorry. Okay. And just for all those people complaining about beams, just give them, I don't know, Hercules C2 or something. Give them a forklift, some 4 STU boxes, and let them unload the whole thing with a forklift. They will cry for their beam.
Yeah,
they want the tractor beam.
I've done that. I've unloaded trucks with forklifts. It takes time.
Yeah,
working in a warehouse, a loading dock with a forklift. It's a full-time job. You're not going to get anything done at that rate. But so tractor beams are nice. Like you can grab big old pieces of cargo and just sling it around and get stuff done and move on your way. It actually not everybody has 8 hours to play like forklift simulator with Star Citizen.
Yeah.
There's more than just to unload cargo in Star Citizen. Even people who want to do that, they want to be able to get out there and keep doing stuff.
I mean, I want that we finally be able to use the damn forklift and all those machines we see everywhere as props. I want them to be usable. Would I use them every day? Hell no. I'll take my tractor beam and just...
Yeah, as long as you have the tractor beam, there's not a lot of reasons for that. I will also say what I'm fairly confident in is pretty much anything we saw at CitizenCon, I think that is related to Squadron will make it into Star Citizen this year. I think
a lot of the stuff they showed at CitizenCon, I think they'll make it.
All of the updates, so the character creator, the Moby class, the map, the
star
new,
map,
the star map, the new what is it called? Master modes system for flight.
Yeah.
The atmospheric flight stuff. I think the master modes is one of those
they're adding more ships to master mode this year.
Yeah.
So they've added the Vanguard, the Buccaneer, the Hornet. Now it's not just the Gladius. So I think CIG is starting to expand it, but it's still not covering like some of the industrial ships like the Caterpillar, the Cutlass.
You're gonna hate what I'm about to say because I think we're going to get it within the first 6 months, but I think Yogi is going to homogenize the hell out of it. He's going to basically take what we just said, like the courier ships. All of them will have the exact same flight characteristics.
Yeah. Yeah, so the 300 series is going to fly just like the Avenger Titan. The Caterpillar is going to fly just like the C2.
Yeah.
The Reclaimer is going to fly like the 890 jump. I believe it. Honestly, that's fine. As long as we get master mode and kind of get a feel for it and give them feedback, it's great. Yeah. Like, players can tell them, like, hey, we like this, we don't like this.
There's like a
dozen kind of massage stuff a little bit.
There's a dozen archetypes that they have, and they'll just go through, and every archetype will have it's like light, medium, heavy of this, light, medium, heavy of this, and then they'll just slap numbers in and throw it out there. So
I just hope that they can finally do what they want with the master modes and give large ships really this more battleship-like feeling.
Yeah,
and not because. If I fly my character, sure, it has some weight to it, I guess. and it does not maneuver as quickly or as nimble.
Oh, you're one of those people. It's just like the game doesn't feel right, CIG. The physics literally let the ship do that. They literally has enough thrust on every thruster to let it fly like a dogfighter, to let it fly like that. And everybody's like, "Oh, it doesn't feel right, CIG. Welcome to physics."
The thing is, I want large ships to really feel heavy, feel more ship-like, you know? Like ship on the water.
Like they do now? Like physics, like real life? Because everyone's like, "Oh my god, the Gladius is pointing straight down at me. That's not right, CIG." Yes, it is, because they literally gave the thrusters that much thrust. It can do that in the game.
I don't care about the physics of the flight model.
I'll be honest, care about how it feels.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
because this is a video game, HC Vertigo. This is a video game.
If I'm flying an Idris, I want to turn around. I want it to be 2 kilometers. You have to drift so you can slightly turn and then fly the other direction or something. Because the ship is heavy.
I'm a big fan of it.
It's massive.
I'm a big fan of that just because there's going to be memes. Like when Star Citizen has the right mouthfeel for memes. Then you know, for like these sorts of distinct distinctions, you're going to see people who are going to make jokes, the deja vu jokes about drifting in a reclaimer through asteroid belts at stupidly high speeds. You know, but yeah, I honestly, anything beyond that, like 4.0, I could not guarantee 4.0 is coming out. I couldn't tell you.
I don't think it is. I think it's going to be out next year.
Yeah. However, do I think things like server meshing will come in? Yes, but not into release. CIG's new get out of jail free card is the preview channel, and they are going to abuse it so hard. Anytime someone says, "Well, where's X?" You said 2 years ago that this was coming out. Congratulations, you've just created a preview channel so that 17 people can play it for a week. So that way, whenever someone,
I'm pretty sure Theaters of War is going to release on the preview channel for a week or something this year.
Yeah, and it might do well, and people might enjoy it, but like it is CIG's way of saying, here's what you're crying for. Here's McDonald's, shut the fuck up. Is what it is.
Mom, I want Mickey D's for dinner tonight. Here's your chicken nugget. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I think it's going to be server meshing and pyro and all that kind of stuff. So,
I mean, I could see them trying to get 4.0 for CitizenCon, simply because they want to announce it on CitizenCon. That's what Chris is probably begging and praying so they can somehow get it done to CitizenCon, so you can stand there. Guys, 4.0! It's 4.0!
Yeah. So, Zarrk, that kind of gets us to the next question, though. We've talked about what we think are going to come in terms of like good, solid. What is kind of more on the maybe kind of like as one chatter said, that we've kind of gone through the like rational, reasonable, what we could think we'll probably make it. Let's move into the hopium side of things. What do you see that could add to the gameplay in the near future that you hope is going to be in, but you don't quite know if it's actually going to make it in or not, kind of thing?
Okay. The first one would obviously be 4.0 for CitizenCon, but it's not that I don't know if it makes in. It's more like I think it don't makes it in.
Okay.
I'm a bit more negative that they get it in. I really would be happy if they get full server meshing on for CitizenCon. That would be already great. And then announcing like, guys, first patch 2025 will be 4.0 with Pyro coming in, something like this. That's more realistic, I guess. Second hopium would be Theaters of War. Again, probably CitizenCon would make sense somehow. And considering how well Arena Command actually works right now, chances aren't too bad.
Okay.
So yeah. Aside from that, let me take a look at your nice. Oh yeah, Reputation T2. that's something they announced it. Problem is, I'm not sure how much improvements they want to do right now and with the stand-in gangs, even though we now get more of them. With the Dusters,
there are more gangs in the Dusters and the Ninetales, by the way. There are like 2 or 3 other ones that they haven't talked about or added in a while, like the Nova.
But they aren't added. That's the issue. So I can see them doing Reputation T2, but on the other hand, it's been so long since any improvements came to Reputation. And in my opinion, they would also need to rework the crime stat system to make it actually work. So I'd love for them to put it in. I'm not sure if they make it. Simply because there might some addendums which they haven't thought of, or just gets delayed due to X, Y, Z. Artists taking longer to make another gang. UI troubles with the Mobiglass, so the UI for the new Reputation system gets delayed. Whatever.
So you just think there's too many factors for some of these things to come in. Like it just anything can go wrong. One small spanner in the works, and suddenly everything is delayed until 2026, kind of thing.
No, not that long. The main issue I have with Reputation T2 is they would really need to massively increase the scope of the current Reputation system, factor in the crime system, and that's a lot of work. And I'm not sure if they make it this year due to all the other things they have to do. So there's a lot of figuring stuff out. If we move away from our current crime system, how do crimes work now? I mean, if you kill someone, even though all those guys like you still have to go to prison. Or do you? Maybe you can stay free if they like you, but you have a massive drop in their trust and so on. So there are a lot of gameplay related questions, I guess, they have to answer. And then build onto all those things. So, yeah, not that sure. And lastly, what I'm a bit iffy on is water interactions. Because if it's just water reacting to the thrust of our ships, okay, that's probably getting in. If we think about landing on water, swimming through water, maybe diving,
actual swimming,
then it gets a lot more suspect if they can do it. Because, okay, now I have water, and I can fly over it and have a cool effect, but I still can't interact with it. And,
Okay. Vertigo. Same question for you. What are you more kind of on the fence about what might come in terms of gameplay, like actual game interactions with like player experience?
Base building. They showed off a little bit of base building, which is kind of like a concept a little bit. It could come out this year with like land claims, a little bit of base building, but it would require like CIG to actually release a device. Well, I mean, you could do the No Man's Sky thing where you have like a little tool or something where you just you can build, some structures.
They did show off the little push cart. That's the tier 1 of base building. So it could be they could release that. I
do that.
Guess. So
we could have like little tiny, Rust sized tiny little bases where we can put stuff together. I don't think the Pioneer is coming anytime soon. I mean, I think base building may be a thing. Restraints, they showed that off. We can actually restrain people. If we get restraints, we may get actual bounty hunting. Yeah. Where you literally have to disable the ship, restrain a guy, get a can opener out and pry open that Super Hornet, pry the guy out, restrain him, throw him into a freezer pod, and then take him back, get paid. Because they did show off earlier this year, middle of this year, I think they showed off like security offices in the medium-sized facilities, the medium-sized underground facilities on a inside Star Citizen.
They also showed off like a drop-off point at Orison for it, and they also showed off like the redo of the Hawk, so how the Hawk would work. So
yeah, so I'm on the fence on those. It could happen. I'm not holding my breath. That kind of stuff. That's all I can think of for now. I'm looking through the list, and I'm just like, that's probably not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen. This is like the maybe list, and that's what's coming to mind right now. Those are my maybe list.
That's about maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the. Go ahead, Zarrk.
Sorry. On the point of base building, I just had an interesting idea. Considering we get full persistence, okay. We have active status 2.0. So we have some more things you have to track, maybe cold, maybe exposure that's more varied. So base building tier 0 could actually be just survival shelter. We just need to get things and a very simple building process of something. Considering we have already a sort of crafting system within the game, there could be like a tool for the attachment for the multi-tool or something, where you can mine something or strip something, and then you can create like just a tent where you can go in, or so.
We have that with the construction materials. We have like that's when you do the whole vibrating, the whole resonating part of salvage. What you get is construction materials. So it's already kind of in the game already with that, like at least generic material.
That's actually what I could see. So because then they wouldn't have to worry about the whole land claiming mechanic, which I think will probably be a huge strain for the network. And how do you make sure the claim works, and so on and so forth. And on the other hand, you build a survival shelter, people have a higher chance to survive if they strand and have to stay alive for a couple of hours. You could work with beams very easily.
I mean, they already have like a trespassing zones around the underground outpost they have, so they can already assign ownership of areas of space to certain people or organizations. So land claims can be literally just the beacon just creates a trespassing zone that only you can enter legally.
But the problem is the edge cases again.
Oh, you're saying like edge cases are a problem for CIG. That's a problem for the player base.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I said, it still can come. It can still come.
It could.
Yeah,
despite edge cases.
That's why I say base building in terms of building survival shelters that degrade very fast. That's what I personally think might come first, because the whole point about the land claims is what will player be able to find in terms of loopholes that would ruin the game.
Or ruin the experience of other people, because that's the one thing that Vertigo knows nothing about that.
I know nothing about crashing servers intentionally, or pad ramming, or
being able to smuggle guns through or being
security. Able to security. What was the other one? Cross chassis upgrades with like other ships, flipping through ships using the Aurora to steal them. I know nothing about that. Using the emote system to steal Auroras from people, then blowing up sabers.
Yep. All right. Vertigo, we've kind of already. Yeah. Did you have any other kind of? It was all your maybes, right?
Yeah, it was all my maybes.
I will say I do think that the what is it? The building, like base building, is definitely a maybe. I think bounty hunting is definitely a maybe. Let me look at that list again, because I'm also kind of looking at it. So, which includes like land claims and some of those other things. I think Maelstrom's a maybe. That's a maybe, because they did show it off, but it's hard to tell because it's the engine team. Each team, as most people know, has the different kind of speeds. Like if it's a ship and the ship team says it's going to get done, it's probably going to get done, unless it's the BMM. Then anything that's big is going to be more kind of up in the air. But they also very much like to show off their stuff. So like the sneak peek for this week for the Star Citizen newsletter was literally a gray box image of the what was it, of the Zeus. So it's like like they're actively working on the Zeus. It's already improved over 3 months. But I also think the things I kind of mentioned it a little bit, but like EVA T2, I think is a maybe. because like they mentioned it coming in, but I'm like, we haven't seen it except for a couple of clips 2 years ago. It wasn't even at CitizenCon last year.
It was at CitizenCon. It was at CitizenCon. They showed it off in CitizenCon in the Squadron 42 slice.
Oh, I guess
they showed it off.
Yeah, but it was for Squadron, not necessarily for. We know it's been active in Squadron for years, but we haven't seen it like transferred over like we saw like the HUD updates and stuff like that with Star Citizen sets. So
the thing with EV-82 is, in my opinion, it's very much dependent on the whole armor specialization.
Yeah,
because
it's going to remove your ability to use EVA fuel for your basic flight suits. So yeah.
Makes only sense to bring it in if you have the option to equip something that can allow you to regain the power. So, and considering how much the actor team and the design team for armor and stuff has to create, it might slip simply not because it's ready, but because the gear we would need to use it in game isn't in game yet.
That's a good way to put it too. Yeah, anytime there's a knock-on effect, you can always anticipate the knock-on effect happening. Also, because CIG has this bad case of getting something done and saying, but we can make it better, and then delaying it 3 to 6 months. So that's what happened with Salvage. Salvage was one of those things that was technically ready in like 3.17, but they were like, but we can improve it. And PES will make it even better. So like they delayed it to 3.18, and then people forget. So, and then there's the straw. Yeah, there's the straw, which is like we can just get it out there. All right, what looks at this? Oh, I think Master Modes. Yeah, is another one of those maybes for me, because I can see it coming in a basic form, but. Yeah. I don't really see much of anything else here. It's like a lot of that stuff is stuff I think will probably make it in before the end of the year, but it's more of a like sliding or the skill system.
I know when finally we could get PvP sliders when sliding gets in.
Yeah, because you can PvP slide while you PvP. It's perfect.
Don't start that again.
Listen, let me get my what was it? My tribes sliding in CIG. Let me do stupid tribe sliding for once, even though it's not going to be how sliding works. Someone's going to figure out how to do it. So, yeah. So I mean, I think most of the stuff's coming in. I just think when it comes to, especially with Alpha 4.0, I think it's a big maybe for me. It's just so like. I can't tell you where it's going to be. I can tell you that you will, not you watching, because I can't guarantee you that, but I can tell you that people will almost certainly be testing 4.0 in a preview channel, probably 6 months to a year before it actually releases. So we might see full testing of the full systems of Pyro and Stanton meshed together with a jump point, all that sort of wonderful thing with whatever is available in the game at that patch, and you'll be able to play it for a week, and it'll be a select group of people that CIG cares to give to, and then once they've tested that out, they'll maybe do it again and towards this. So like I have a hope that it's going to come out around CitizenCon, because I think that's what CIG wants to plan, and or like CIG would like to have. Yeah. But I also know that anything can happen. Like there's so many problems. Like they also wanted to have the replication layer split in 3.21. That's why it was called 3.21 and not 3.20.1 or .2 or whatever. But that didn't happen. And now it's in 3.22. That's a delay of at least several months. So if that delayed several months, then any kind of plan for server meshing is going to delay for several months, because that team then has to transfer over there. And we also know that this version doesn't even have the 30K recovery properly, or the persistence.
The thing
recovery.
is,
so
I'm not sure how difficult 4.0 is to realize after server meshing works. That's the one thing I'm really unsure. Because I think we can all agree, full persistence and server meshing will be in the game before there's 4.0. Because 4.0 will be when Pyro comes into the game. That's 4.0. And server meshing will be in the game before that. So, depending on the difficulty, I could actually see them. Let's be really Hopium. Like,
we're not going to do Hopium yet. Let's not do Hopium yet. Hopium's next. We're going to do Hopium next.
Take a deep breath. If we say server meshing will come in summer, I could see the next patch being 4.0. I could see this actually happening simply because there is not that much technical hurdle, in my opinion, to bring in Pyro and call it 4.0. That's the whole thing. Server meshing will take still a lot of time, and server meshing, yes, there will be the preview channel, and people will hate it, and the bugs will be terrible, and the play experience will be funky as hell. But after server meshing is in the game, the next patch could. So the next patch would either be stabilizing, so really everything bug fixing for the next big patch, where they say, okay, we take 3 months to iron out anything that's left, and then 4.0, or they say, damn it, next patch is 4.0, we bring in Pyro.
Okay. Let's go into the Hopium, and I'll start with you on this one, Vertigo. What is your Hopium list? What is the thing that you would love to see come in that is gameplay, but you have no at all indication that it's going to come in 2024?
And this year,
it's gameplay.
Oh my God, Master Mode actually just being releasing for every ship in the game. The Rick system to every ship in the game, every ship be getting like its internal components so they can finish off salvaging and engineering and whatnot. Those definitely coming this year. Let's see, what else we got. Scope improvements, maybe. It's kind of a maybe thing. I don't know how I feel about EVA T2 can come in. I'm definitely saying Master Mode is definitely not coming this year. I don't think so, because they're only up to 5 ships in Arena Commander right now in experimental mode.
After 6 months of testing with one, so
yeah, so it's gonna be a while. I'm just kind of looking through the list here. I'm thinking. I said, base buildings may be coming. I don't know. It's hard to think of other stuff here. Like a lot of this stuff, like Star Cloth, Star Hair, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe water interaction. I'm not very.
I'll hit you one
solid on water interaction.
I'll hit you with mine, which is the FPS scanning, the scanning tech for FPS, the radar and ping and the scanning tech, all the new scanning stuff. I don't think it's coming in.
They already have that working, believe it or not.
Yeah, but it's
there was a release system when you can scan from your ship and actually detect players on foot.
Yeah, no, it's still in this 3.22 is got that too. The thing is more scanning, because it's not just scanning. It's kind of like the Mobiglass and stuff like that, where it's like the map from Mobiglass isn't just the map. It's everything. It's the map. It's the star map. It's all of that is connected together. Scanning is no longer just FPS scanning. It's all of the scanning. It's scanning close. Yeah. It's scanning near, far, wherever you are. That's what it is. So,
but for the star map to actually work like it's supposed to work when it comes in, you need scanning to work. And the star map they want to release very early this year. So I'll say we get definitely a tier 0 scanning system. Maybe not as fleshed out as it might be in Squadron.
But I can see them adding scanning in game, because we already have the visual effect for FPS scanning. They showed that off a while ago, and they just used the ship thing. They showed it off at CitizenCon, so I think that's a maybe this year for me. FPS scanning. Yeah,
I still think, because they keep talking about it, like the Cutter Scout's supposed to have this great scanning suite, but we haven't seen a single other than a basic mock-up. We have not seen a single piece of
like
gameplay.
planetary level scanning or galactic level scanning. Basically, solar system or planetary level scanning, where you basically have a Carrack or a Scudder, the Terrapin or whatnot.
Yeah.
You fly over a planet, you press the scan button, you get this gigantic bubble that goes out, and it gives you all these points of interest that you can go down and land next to.
Like
I don't think we're going to get something like that.
Yeah, the whole long-range scanning will probably have to wait until server meshing is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my part. But the baseline FPS scanning...
I think that
or
FPS
short-range scanning with stomach.
I think that's going to be tied in. I think that's all that's going to be tied into the longer range scanning stuff. So I think they'll delay it until it gets the longer range stuff out. So, anyways, yeah. Is there anything else for to go or Zarrk? We can move to Zarrk.
I think we can move to Zarrk.
What is there any? All right. What's your copium? Give me that huff deep with the hopium. The copium, like what's coming out?
Same as Vertigo. Rig system master mode for all ships. Give it. But as you said, it's just 200 vehicles or something they have to work on right now and balance. And even if we say, okay, let's split it across, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 different archetypes, we still have 5 ships to do for every archetype. It's really a lot. Other than that, base building. For me, true base building is definitely Hopium this year.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I like to see most things doable. Yeah. Okay. 4.0 sure is, again, strong dose of Hopium, but we covered that already.
Mm-hmm.
Scanning for my part, I'll see no issue with having the short range FPS scan in the game. The Idris is definitely not coming this year. That's just not coming because it is after Squadron, and Squadron is not coming this year. I don't need any hopium for that. Or others said,
I don't think Squadron's coming either.
No,
not this year.
Not coming this year.
I can't take that much hopium. It's like with the med gun. I would die before I have to reach the needed level hopium to say yes, it's coming. Another huge hopium. I'm not sure if it's on the game, but physical damage system. Not just Maelstrom, but actually physical damage systems for ship and ship armor. That's another huge hopium. I would love to see this year. I don't think it will happen. I would go so far and say Maelstrom is heavy hopium.
Okay. Because I think the Maelstrom is the new physicalized damage system. It's not just the damage system in terms of parts.
It's part of it. Yes,
it is that.
I think Maelstrom is it, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's the destruction of like buildings and ships and whatnot. That's the buzzword that CIG is attaching to this physical damage system.
You combine that with the Rick system. Those two systems are the physicalized damage system, because the Rick system is the new system of how everything works. And so once you've done that, then they can take away the health pools, and then the Maelstrom system allows them to just blow holes in any part of the ship and not have to worry about it because it can track all of those.
I guess you would have to add some other layer that would allow the ship to shrug off
it's armor.
Certain amounts of damage, but simply don't take any.
But armor is nowhere near anytime soon. I mean, what was it? That's definitely a copium, I think, is armor, because it's armor was they mentioned, who was it? Was it Yoki who mentioned that armor was in testing internally, and they're like, it's still years away. So it's like, and that was testing, like it was mentioned like last year or 2 years ago, and it's like,
I don't understand what's so hard about having like damage resistances on your ships.
I think it's more about applying it, how it looks, how it affects flight mechanics, and if they're already doing so many changes to how flight was working with the master modes, CIG
are they going to change the way the ship looks based on what armor you equipped?
Oh, it's Chris Roberts' game. Of course they're going to do that. You know this.
But I think the main issue with armor is like, what type of armor? So I say there are probably 2 main pillars. The first one is the Maelstrom pillar, so you can actually shoot things off a ship. You have the structure, physical structure of things. And you have the armor part, which would allow you to say, okay, I have a Carrack, heavily armored. You come with your Aurora. You shoot at me. I don't care. But how does the armor know that it's supposed to ignore, let's say, everything up to a size 3 repeater, size 3 cannons, maybe? But again,
I mean, it's all math, right? Do we need to explain how math works to this guy? Like, we've done this in previous games. Like, Fallout 1 had an armor system where it had damage resistance and damage.
Yeah, but
they had they took off percentage damage, and then it had a number. Like, weapons do damage, and you just reduce the damage. It literally does it right now.
The thing is, some weapons are not supposed to do damage against armor of certain kinds.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, and I
You
think that's the.
And I could point to like games like War Thunder, which already do that, right? Yeah. They already have an armor system in War Thunder that CIG can copy. They can just do that.
I believe that's the.
You're
main
asking
issue.
how could it be done? War Thunder.
Okay.
Does the War Thunder system work with the engine? That's
Vertigo. You know that's not how CIG works. Even if it isn't, like it's like saying like how do you just use X Game? X Game has said system. It's like CIG is going to take 5 minutes to like explain or five years.
Yeah, it's not going to take 5 minutes to implement the War Thunder armor system for the tanks they got. But still, like you're asking how can it be done? Like War Thunder. Like there you go.
The thing is not how can it be done, but how will CIG do it? That's the point. And I think that's the main issue which would drag out the armor system. Though another thing I'm curious about is we've seen Maelstrom now coming up pretty much only this year. And we know that CIG is kinda famous for having a couple of genius guys that hide in the basement and all of a sudden appear and bring something brand new that changes everything. So one question I have in regards to the whole physical damage system and armor and such is Maelstrom something that's in development for like 4 years now? Or is it something that one guy cooked up in his lab this year in summer and they brought it in and it just works and now physicalized armor and physicalized damage system is ready to go this year? That's kind of what I'm questioning. When did Maelstrom really kick off? Because that would mean a lot in terms of time frame.
Yeah, I will say that Maelstrom has been mentioned multiple times as starting last year. And it was to the point where I asked several CIG developers about certain things. Like I knew that they were doing hull vibrations, the new hull thing, the new salvage aspect. I'm calling it vibrations because that's what it is. It's just vibrating the hull. You're just taking a Hitachi to the hull and making it fall apart. But the they said that like that whole system was moved up because of Maelstrom. Like Maelstrom allowed that system to be moved up to where it is today. So Maelstrom is further along than people realize, but at the same time, because we only saw an in-engine trailer of it working, and
pre-rendered too.
Pre-rendered.
Yeah. Basically, it was a video, right?
Yeah, it was just CIG going, "Trust us." It's like,
trust us, bro.
No, we don't. So please show us working in game with in game. Even in like an
preview channel
tools. Yeah,
preview channel.
This is why I'm thinking this is the year of the preview channel. Is what it is. But I will say for my Hopium, Copium, I think the scanning stuff. And I'm actually going to change my information. Say bounty hunting. I think that's a Copium. I don't think we're going to see bounty hunting this year. I think we're going to see bounty hunting maybe next year. But yeah. All right.
As you mentioned bounty hunting, there's one thing I'm really missing on the list. And now that I think of it, about it, I'm also missing it from CitizenCon, even though it's actually kind of important regarding Reputation T2. The guild system.
Oh yeah, then the copium that the new system specifically for those who don't know, there's a system that CIG is inventing for in-game organizations, which has to deal with the reputation. And that system is going to be the basis upon which they're going to build the player-like system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so because, CIG doesn't like to make two separate systems. So they want to make player organizations at the same sort of reputation and like kind of the same
having
way.
Actual orgs in Star Citizen would be nice as well.
Yeah,
but that's not coming this year.
I don't think that's coming.
Yeah, for those of you, it's kind of like from Skyrim, the Dark Brotherhood, the Thief Guild, and so on. Those things will have an org system, and this org system will be used by players to build their own org, and you can join the NPC organization, and you can still join player organization. And surprisingly, in theory, the whole guild system would be surprisingly important or helpful for the reputation T2, for Pyro in this regard, because all those gangs could work like guilds, because you could earn the tattoos, you could join them.
Yeah.
So yeah, thinking about it, it's strange that they've been so silent on it.
And that was the other thing somebody brought up in chat, which is the dynamic economy. I think that's a copium. I think there's definitely some evidence that CIG is moving the dynamic economy team to just becoming an economy team for right now, so they can just like look at it and start balancing stuff. But I think
we only have one star system, so what economy is there to balance, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they want to try
to Pyro. Like Pyro is just going to be 2-star system. Pyro's like a pirate system, so you're going to be bringing commodities into it. But what's going to come out of Pyro? Drugs, I guess.
Drugs.
The main issue, as far as I understand, is that the Quanta system is as far as you can develop it without server meshing.
Without a lot of stuff, yeah.
So it's pretty much the furthest ahead, if you want to say so, and only once server meshing, full persistence, and so on are working in game, they can start linking up with Quanta and bring Quanta to life.
But I think
that's kind of how I understand the whole part.
Yeah, but I still think that's a 2026. Like that's something that's so far ahead that CIG doesn't even want to dedicate resource. If CIG is just basically disbanded the team. If they've basically disbanded the team at the end of this last year, and moved them all to just a generic economy team, I don't think it's CIG saying it's dead, move on. But I do think it's CIG saying we don't care. This isn't a priority anymore. We're going to focus on other stuff. So
because they're, as far as I understand, done, so I could see them 4.0, and then 4.1 is here's Quanta.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more than that.
I mean, it's definitely copium, but that's kind of what I can see there.
All right. With that, this is gonna wrap up our discussion section. We're gonna move on to the question and answer session from the rest of the thing. Thank you to Vertigo and Zarrk for hanging out with us. And we'll move on to the next sections. We're gonna take about a 5-minute break, use the restroom, grab something to drink, ask your questions in chat, and thank you much. We'll be right back, y'all. Hello and welcome back to the question and answer session. Just ran up the stairs like an idiot. This is where I take questions from the chat. I'm going to look through some of the YouTube chat. I know some people will be like, wait, can we ask questions in YouTube? It's like, you can, but especially if we get a lot of questions, it becomes harder to kind of collate them, so I'll drop the YouTube stuff first. But if you are watching this on YouTube after the fact, you can ask questions in the comments as well. And I know I check those things, and I'm sure Vertigo will come by and check some of that stuff, and Zarrk might. So,
short interruption.
Go ahead.
So Red Haze, they had problem not with server meshing with the data provider, but the data. So they, in essence, they bought a very fancy Excel sheet that was there to organize all the data.
But yeah, it's a database, basically. So
to organize all the data, and officially it was marketed as something used for large amounts of data. It just broke down. And considering the current server performance, I think it's somewhat fixed.
Yeah, they complained a lot.
Yeah.
They asked for the call to talk to their manager kind of situation. They Karen'd their way through that. So
yeah, but it's not something that has to do with server meshing. It's simply the backend where they have all the data managed. So it's more a thing with persistence.
Was AWS Neptune? I don't know what it was specifically. It was. All I knew, it was an enterprise level data process. I can't remember the name of the term.
Which enterprise? A, B, C, or D?
It's E. E.
Okay.
So yeah, the graph database. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't remember exactly what was said, and I am not an expert at that field, so I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. But I do know that it has nothing or little to nothing to do with server meshing. It has to do with persistent entity streaming with PES. That is it. It has to do with the graph database. So that was the issue. It was not like server meshing itself. And no, CIG would not be able to build based off of the people I've talked to who know more about this than I do. The idea of CIG building a database like this is insanity. We're talking like millions and millions of dollars, more money than CIG's ever raised to kind of to build their own system like that. It would just not work. All right.
It's serious as even Black Magic can't fix it.
Yeah. There are whole companies who build those. Yeah. So first question comes from Ashhole, who asks, when reputation becomes more a requirement for missions, do you think removal of all safe zones would be a thing, aka kill in microtech space and be banned from there, no service, sales, refueling, etc.? I mean, yeah, it's kind of already that, but yeah. What do you think, Vertigo?
Hair. What was the question again? Sorry. I was watching cats.
When reputation becomes more a requirement for missions, do you think removal of all safe zones should be a thing? AKA kill somebody in microtech space, you would be banned from there, no service, sales, refueling, etc.
No. I think we need more star systems before we think about removing armistice zones. And I don't think hard armistice zones should be removed entirely from Star Citizen. I think new player areas where the tutorial takes place should have hard armistice zones. Like indefinitely, just to prevent people from just messing with newbies. But yeah, most outposts that should lose their armistice zones and reputation should help kind of clean out like griefers and whatnot, because eventually you're just going to be harassed by security anytime you try to go to like Crusader space if you're Crusader enemies with Crusader. But we need some place for people to go more than Pyro. People are like, oh, Pyro's going to be the pirate system. Like there's nothing in Pyro besides PvP, and PvPers don't want to live in Pyro and PvP with other PvPers. They want to go where PvPers aren't and get easy kills. That's part of PvP, right? That's what a lot of people who do PvP want.
So I do think that there needs to be some removal of zones in some places. Like there's a lot of armistice zones in places that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I also think
Grim Hex, for example. Why does Grim Hex have an armistice zone? Oh, that's because if you spawned at Grim Hex, you wouldn't be able to play the game, like ever.
people will just murder you. But the other thing is responses. Like, we do not have good NPC responses yet. One of the things that I have been very firm on is that a lot of people, I think, just completely ignore is that the vast majority of piracy is not going to be player-on-player piracy. It will be on NPC piracy.
Yeah, we already have that right now. Legit. Like, you can pirate NPCs.
Yeah.
I've done it.
You and I have made billions of credits. You made... It's effectively what we're doing, even though they're technically illegal. All they need to do is make those guys legal.
Okay.
Like,
there's actually a thing for this in real life that actually happened. It's called a letter of marque.
Mm-hmm.
And it was given to private independent individuals who, if your country is at war, right? You're France at war with Britain, and this actually happened, and you wanted to disrupt Britain's ability to make money to pay for that war, you give anybody who has their own ship with cannons on it a letter of marque, and you say, you're allowed to attack our enemies, and if you manage to sail back to our ports or our waters, our territorial waters, we will protect you, and you will have no legal repercussions. You basically can take whatever is theirs. If they're sailing under a British flag, you could do whatever the hell you want to them. You can take all their stuff. You can kill them. You will face no legal repercussions from us or our allies, essentially. So privateers are basically just legitimate pirates, is what a letter of marque is.
But I mean, in Star Citizen, like right now, the current way that extreme difficulty ERTs, they will spawn like fully loaded caterpillars or M2s, and I've taken down a freak spawn of 4 of those ERTs in one location and made God, I don't even remember how much money. It was something close to...
I had one viewer do an ERT mission that dropped a huge load of maize. It was like over 200 boxes of maize.
During Jumptown?
Jumptown. And he was 42 million credits. And he sent me a screenshot of it, and it was just
I made 20 million credits on, I think, 42 SCU of maize. 20 million in one.
And we don't... There isn't a legal mechanism to allow us to take that stuff from those people, right? I'm assuming once you get high enough in the Bounty Hunters Guild, you just get that letter assigned to you. Like, you just can take whatever you want, right? Because it's part of the benefits of being a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
But in real life, if you're a bounty hunter within the United States and you get a bounty to go hunt someone down, and you capture that person, you don't just get to take everything they own, right?
No, no.
You have to.
They're bail jumpers, is what they are. They left. They ran away from bail, and they owe you money. So but yeah, what was I going to say? But the point being is that I think the majority of gameplay where piracy occurs is going to be player on NPC piracy. So you're not going to have a lot of people who think that piracy just means PvP don't realize that. And I think as CIG increases the difficulty of PvP or PvE and improves the AI behavior over time, that will improve. But until we have that, there's no point in removing the protections, because you need to have not brain dead NPCs who will respond to a fight in the middle of their backyard. If 2 people just start shooting at each other, ships need to come out and tell both pilots to power down, and if they don't, they get shot, kind of thing. So, but yeah, so yes. How about you, Zarrk? Do you think that we should when reputation becomes a requirement for missions, do you think the removal of all safe zones should be a thing?
No. So the thing is, reputation alone is not enough. As you said, we need the response on the NPC side. We need a lot more systems to be working, like security checks on the spaceport. When you go in, you get scanned, weapons, armor gets confiscated, and so on. Assuming all those systems are in game, I'm a huge proponent of remove all safety zones. Because the interesting thing is, and CIG even said something according to those lines, yes, you have newbie zones, high sec zones, where you can't bring weapons inside. Everywhere are guards. People are watching you. They have armed forces like nothing else on standby and so on. So if someone goes in and shoots someone, he is probably fucked. The thing is, if you try to get your weapon inside, it's already insanely hard and will probably bring repercussions. Simply owning a gun inside those territories. For example, Hurston. If you go inside Lorville with a gun, probably already illegal. On the other hand, if you manage to avoid all those security checks and get your gun inside, you can fire it. The consequences are yours to suffer, and sure, the 1-2 newbies you will kill, probably bad. But again, the thing is,
what you're saying is that we need stuff like actual repercussions for those sorts of things in order to matter, in order to get rid of
the whole thing. So I just think it fits much better with Star Citizen if the whole thing is very systemic.
Yeah,
there could be some sort of armistic zones within certain parts of a city, like around a hub, simply to prevent spawn killing or something. But overall, I think once all these systems are in, like they're supposed to be, remove them. People who want to go in and murder people in Lorville, if they manage to get a gun in, okay. That you can never ever enter Hurston, even the system, without getting gunned down by a huge fleet or something, that's your problem then.
All right. Shimpasta asks, will CIG redo older RSI ships like the Connie now, or will they wait? They're going to wait.
They're going to wait.
Yeah, there's no way they're doing it now. First
of all,
it
needs an interior update.
Yeah, it doesn't need components. It doesn't need an exterior update. It's fine. As much as people hate the freaking cockpit, it's fine.
I just wish the cockpit to be touched up a little bit, but the rest of the ship is serviceable.
The space is fine. They just need to. It's got good bones. It's got good bones. You can use it. It just needs to redo the interior. You know, make an open concept kitchen for the Connie or whatever. There's a lot of things that needs to get done with it, but it's the same thing with like the Aurora and all of the other ships which are kind of older that need to get updated that haven't been touched.
So I don't see much need to do any major rework on the Aurora. More like small touch-ups.
Yeah,
even though it would be cool. Yeah, even though it would be cool to have those spoilers,
those wings,
go out,
the Scorpius wings. I'd love for that redesign to turn the Aurora into a mini Scorpius would be really cool. So
what I could see them do with the Constellation though is do a Constellation Mark II that's modular. So instead of re-releasing all the constellations we have,
I guess it's technically Mark. Yeah, like 7 or 8, whatever it would be. Yeah.
So we have the Constellation 55, and you have
Constellation 29, 50, whatever. You know. Yeah.
And you just have a modular pod you can exchange, and then you have the cargo module. You have the whatever module.
Like
will be some sort of a problem in regards to balancing. Why should people still fly the old Connie if they can have the new Connie, which will probably have a better interior? But again, that's the thing I can see them do, especially in regards to we have Squadron, we have constellations in there with animations.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I believe that's one of the reasons why they held off the rework so long.
Possibly the Freelancer we definitely see an interior of a Freelancer in Squadron because there's that they've used that footage like 4 times in their trailers.
Yeah, and I think a Constellation is there as well. I think a Constellation is in there as well, and even if all people jump from the Constellation, Taurus, Andromeda, and so on to the 2956 or so Connie, wouldn't be an issue because if there are poorer systems, the people are still flying the old Constellation. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Jen, we moved on from that topic. We're talking about the Connie. The question was, will CIG update the Connie now or later? That's what it was. All right, next question comes from Shimpasta, who asks, when we get bases, I assume the base hangar can only hold one ship. So where will your other ships be? Wherever you put them, man.
Yeah.
In the other hangars. So
yeah, if multiple hangars, yeah.
You can, so as I know CRG, build as big as you want. You have 64 square kilometers of space.
Lot of fucking space. That's what is it? That's like I think that's the Skyrim map. Like legitimately the size of Skyrim.
Yeah.
So
they have confirmed you will be able to build underground. So
they haven't confirmed that.
They confirmed that they want to do it, but it would be later down the line.
I don't remember them to confirm that either, but I know where you're pulling this information from, and there's no source for it. So I was going to say this not been confirmed.
I thought I saw that on a Spectrum post that
you saw it on a leak, and it's a trust me bro leak. So or it
was on a doesn't matter. The thing is, I fully see CIG wanting to do underground, and long story short, you have a lot of space. You can build on that space whatever you want. You have to bring in the materials, and if you want to build 100 hangars to store 100 ships, if you want to make the whole 64 square kilometers one single capital size ship harbor for 200 Idrises or something, feel free, man. Do it.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one, which is Steve the Dancer asks, at present moment, the Reclaimer's cargo system needs an update. How would you update it? You don't want to ask me, Steve, because my response to how would you update the Reclaimer is the Reclaimer is garbage. Not because it's a bad ship, in the sense of its functionality. It works for what it does. But about, I would say, a third of the ship is actually usable. The rest of it is just a confusing maze, and actually it has zero purpose.
It's not that bad maze-like, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the Reclaimer.
It's almost as bad as the Starfarer. It's not quite as bad.
No. The Starfarer is so bad. The Reclaimer is pretty much a straight shot between the two elevators that take you to various places. It's a lot easier to figure out how to get through a Reclaimer than it is a Starfarer.
So
I have to fight you on that ball.
There's so much wasted space is my point.
I agree with that. There's a lot of wasted space in the Reclaimer.
What they could do is take the Reclaimer and turn it from what it is to half that size. And it would still be able to do everything it can do now, plus more.
Like that gigantic munching bay, which
doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter.
That was originally designed to be a bay for munching, and now munching is dead. So why do we have a giant munching bay? And they're just we might want to think about doing something like just fucking get rid of it and put in a smaller processor.
Put a hangar in there. Jesus Christ.
Something like
that. They could have a couple of small salvaging ships to put in there or something.
It's bad. Let me finish up real quick. All right. The thing is, my whole concept is that like the Starfarer, the Reclaimer was built without the gameplay designed for what it was supposed to do. So it had no idea what the gameplay was going to be. They were just guessing. And a lot of it was based off of aesthetics, specifically the Nostromo. You could still do the Nostromo aesthetics, but in a smaller package, it's more efficient, that makes more sense, and actually works for the gameplay. But it's going to need an overhaul. So
I would love to have the Reclaimer without all the mess in it, all the blood stains all over the place.
Yeah, it shouldn't have that anyways. So
yeah.
Anyways,
that was one complaint I saw years ago on the forums was people were complaining about how trashed the Reclaimer already was, fresh from the factory. Yeah.
So the thing is, the Starfarer is an FPS map. The Reclaimer is a movie set. That's pretty much what those two ships were, and I'll be honest, fixing the Reclaimer interior is not that hard, because the base interior is quite good. Gameplay-wise, living-wise, you have your cockpit, you go back, sure you have the munching area, we skipped that for a second, you come to the mess hall, then you have the cabins, and then you enter the heck. The but and there you can do the salvage. What I would now do with the ship is rip out the processing unit and put in a huge cargo area with where you could store, which opens up on both sides to outer space. So when you have people, maybe
kind of like the
like with
cutlass.
the caterpillar, yeah,
like the cutlass has with its
or the
doors.
cutlass, yeah. So you can tractor the ship. Some people can start ripping off the hull plating. Other people go in, bring out the components, put them in these side areas. You can put them. You can close them. This would also allow, if you now, instead of having to crawl down the ladder to reach the engine room, you could now have a lift going down into this secondary cargo bay for components, where then there's a larger door to the engine room. So you don't even need to move the engine room anymore. You can keep it where it is. And all of a sudden, the ship has more space, more usable space, some more cargo space, and it makes sense. Now imagine you have to bring in components from a ship into the reclaimer right now. Via this crappy, maybe working elevator. And then you have this this cargo space that's like that tall. Having some side openings right underneath the main thrusters, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so Star Maniac, I'm just going to address this as well. Star Maniac, what you heard is a rumor that was unsourced from a bar citizen. None of that is actually what CIG said. And this is the problem with sometimes when the leaks come out, is that people will just take it as gospel. It's like, nope, what you heard was a leak. It wasn't even a leak. It's a rumor. It's we don't have a source for who said it, when they said it, why they said it. It's just, trust me, bro, at a bar citizen, which I've gone to many a bar citizen where CIG doesn't show up. So, yeah. Sorry. Vertigo, would there be any way you would change it?
The Redeemer?
The Redeemer.
I feel
Reclaimer.
like... Oh, sorry, the Reclaimer. Yeah, I feel like the captain's quarters could be changed up a little bit. God, I wish the Reclaimer... I wish the bedroom was a little bit better. I would love to see ships that actually kind of like address the idea that you may be having a partner with you, having like larger beds and whatnot, instead of just having a single.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially industrial ships.
CIG's allergic to the idea that human beings can procreate.
Yeah.
or not even have relations with one another in some sort of way that is not platonic.
Yeah. It's like military ships, I get it. Like military ships, you want to be very much, rules, regulations. You don't want people fraternizing with each other because it kind of just causes the distraction.
But on a long haul, like
industrial ships,
yeah,
industrial ships, cargo ships. Like, for example, the Hercules, the C2, like both beds are separate. Like, okay, I can see that as an option. I would love to see a version of the hulls of the C2 where you have just one bed in there, a double or queen size or king size bed in there.
Okay, so
like the 600i does.
Some hopium I have there, and that's coming with the base building system where you can design your interior and build your beds and stuff and things. In theory, the way you decorate those rooms in the base could be the same way they place items within the ship. So you would be free to change your bed to a larger size. Seems very simple because both are rooms. One is on a planet, one is moving in space. There isn't a huge difference. So I could see finally being able to change and decorate your ship to some degree or another with those base building developments.
And the one thing I would like to see with the Reclaimer, they already did with the buffer.
Yeah,
that's like one of the best things, best quality of life improvements they did for the Reclaimer.
I will say, like, for instance, the Starfarer is functional. It works. but its interior is horrible. And I think the same thing happens with the Reclaimer, is that it's functional, but there's so much wasted space in that ship. It borders on the 600i. Actually, I'd say it's worse than the 600i. Because it's so huge, you could use that so much more efficiently and still keep the Nostromo vibes. But
I mean, you have to remember the behind of the Reclaimer has already 2 stories, even though it's probably 4 stories tall, and you have this catwalk around where you can walk. Where you probably were supposed to use some sort of crane that's shown there to move the boxes to the elevator, so someone can put them 1 story below and move them to the other cargo space. But it's not necessary. It's not needed. So it's like nice, I guess.
No, it's as I said, it's a ship that was designed without the idea of what the actual, or with only a vague concept of what the actual gameplay was going to be. Now that they have a full understanding of what the gameplay is supposed to be, it's probably a good idea for them to go back and retool those things. And I know it's horrible saying that, but it's not going to be the only ship. There's going to be tons of ships that are like that. The Freelancer, the Freelancer's got a problem, but the Starfarer is another problem. You'll have the same problem with like, now that kind of, I said this last time and it made a lot of people mad. Overclocking is dead, y'all. Overclocking doesn't exist anymore. So what are you going to do with that bench? That bench is now a crafting bench. Congratulations. It's just been replaced by crafting. So a lot of the things that we're going to be doing for overclocking, like the giant particle accelerator on the Endeavor, I don't fucking know what's going to do now. You have to invent something, but they'll have to probably go back
never
and
knew
fix
what
it.
the particle collider was supposed to do in the first place in the game.
It was supposed to be it's supposed to be a thing that you use to overclock your
I can guess what the particle collider is going to do.
Science.
It's going to be the Heroic Cube from Diablo 2. You put shit in, you press combine, and then something pops out that's different.
Yeah.
I could see CIG doing that.
So we have our Asian gacha game.
Yes.
With the Endeavor.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, you don't think CIG's looking at whatever every other MMO is doing right now and saying, "Hey, we can put that into Star Citizen and make even more money." Like, why would you not put gacha game mechanics in Star Citizen? I mean, you already have the whales forking over money hand over fist.
$48,000.
They could make even more money. Like, there's people who drop 4K in Clash of Clans every month.
Yeah.
So Paul, now we have an actual use for all those ship waifus.
Yes.
You can create and catch them in the particle collider.
No. You need to create them in the particle collider.
You have to create your waifus. I mean, like, we already have the Pico. I'm waiting for CIG to add jiggle mechanics to Star Citizen.
So you have to find all mascots of a star system, then you can throw them in the particle collider, and you have a 1 in 1,000 chance to create a ship waifu.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Pace.
You know what? I'm just going to pay an artist to draw. I'm going to pay Rainbow Wrangler to draw me some titties on a starship. That's what I'm going to do. Instead of just doing that, I will just give her like $20. Here's the Reclaimer. Put some anime titties on it, Rainbow Wrangler. It's going to be so much easier. You do
to
realize, jack off to that than it is like do what CIG's bullshit is.
Do you realize that I created an entire series of just turning ships into anime girls? You know that is a thing.
Paul, before you even did that, someone already did that years ago.
People were doing that. You showed it to me. I know.
Yeah. I have pinup art of like various ships waifu-wise. I can't remember what they call it. I think it's ship tans. Where you take inanimate objects, you turn them into waifus. It's called tanning. TAN.
Tanning. Oh yeah, like ship tans, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Pace Cape asks, what could be stuff we could buy with AUEC outside of ships, gun armor, etc.? Farming AUEC can be fun eventually, but eventually you have millions of it. That's the thing, Pace Cape. AUEC is not going to be the only currency in this game. Reputation is the secondary currency. And so when CIG implements, a wider reputation system, the first thing they're going to do once they implement that system is take away all your money and then make you try to earn and all of the stuff you've purchased. And so that way, when you go back to, I want to go buy this incredibly expensive item. Well, you first off have to earn that money back, and second of all, you can't purchase it anymore because you have to have the reputation to be able to go to this location. It's that the answer is reputation, and that's been CIG's kind of result for like why AUEC farming can get boring is they just lock everything behind reputation.
And I guarantee you, this is a nightmare scenario that I keep pulling out, but I'm going to keep pulling it out. CIG is going to create another currency that runs parallel to like the UEC like that's only accepted by
Banu
like
bucks.
Banu bucks. I keep throwing that out there. Literally, the Banu will not accept United Earth credits, or they will at a terrible exchange rate. Yeah. They will only accept Banu dollars or Banu bucks or something. And the United Earth Empire will not accept Banu bucks, but they will exchange it to UEC for you or something. Because the RMT in Star Citizen is going to be really bad. I guarantee you. Like, CIG is already selling United Earth credits on the web store. You can buy them right now. And you can buy Alpha United Earth credits off like eBay or something. And the exchange rate for the amount of time it takes you to get that UEC is kind of tempting off eBay right now. Like, I was giving away 10 million UEC like during Christmas because I was making so much goddamn money off those ERTs. And what does 10 million get you? Well, it can get you like an A2 bomber. That's 5.5 million credits, and it can buy you all the upgrades for it.
Yeah.
Like, and you still have money left over for another ship. So when you look at the A2, it costs like $700, US dollar dues on the website. Or you could just buy like $20 worth of Alpha UEC off eBay and then just have it till whatever the next reset is. Or you could like subscribe for $20 a month in Star Citizen and maybe get the ship you want to fly from the subscriber perks.
I think we're many years away from Banu bucks. I think we're probably. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because CIG. The one thing that CIG has proven is that they have a instinctual desire to stay alive.
Yeah,
they have the one thing that overrides
they want the company to
everything
keep going
is to keep the company going, and they will do anything and everything to keep the company going.
Yeah,
to keep their dream alive, including break as many promises as they have made in the past. In order to keep the lights on.
They literally tell us that the one thing that's constant in Star Citizen development is change. Yeah. So that I remember Jared Huckabee saying that. That's basically them carte blanche saying like they don't have to keep their promises.
They won't. They will break their promises if it means they can keep the lights on. And so
they will keep selling ships past release for real money. I guarantee you.
But
they've made way too much money so far. But they will have more money sinks. I guarantee you.
They will.
Yeah, that's the thing. With money, so if you play more casual or maybe not as much mission focused or something, you will notice that FPS wise you don't have to worry about anything. You can buy whatever you want if it's buyable, obviously. I never have to worry about armors. I have never to worry about weapons. I know where I can get most armors and weapons I want to use. Even if they aren't buyable, I know where I have to go, which missions I have to look for. So that's the easy part. The hard part is getting a ship. That's where you have to actually put in the work and the effort. And the big issue is not so much. So, for one, obviously, if you have a very large ship, you have to pay a lot of money to keep it running. But the main issue will never be not having UEC. That's never going to be the issue. The issue will be you're on a planet, the fuel of your ship is running out, you only have 2 protein bars left, and 1 flask of water, a single pistol with 1 clip of ammunition, and an armor that's only good for EVA. What are you going to do?
You're saying like that just having like the main issue is going to be preparation is a sort of
preparation and resources. The thing is not having the money, but what do you buy with it and where do you keep it? That will be the main issue, because even even reputation, let's face it, we will be able to work around it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the money, you can say, hey, I know you have the reputation with those guys. Can you buy me the LMG they have? I'll pay you 10% on top.
Yeah.
Or something. That's not a problem. The thing will really be, what do I want to buy? What do I have to buy? Where can I store all those things? And where am I going? So what am I doing with the money?
All right. Let's move on to the next question, because we've got a couple more left, and I've paused some of the redemptions because there's been a lot of folks. The Alpha Wolf asks, ejection parachutes when? Never. You're never going to get ejection parachutes.
Not anytime soon.
Yeah. No, I mean never. You're never going to get the classic cloth parachute. You'll get something like a grav arrestor suit that you'll like use as to take up your backpack slot that'll slow you down when you hit the ground.
I always wanted them to bring up the
a jetpack of something like that. Like
we're not going to get jetpacks. We'd have to redesign all the levels to support that level of movement.
Well, I mean, jetpack is in terms of like
maybe for ease of design, they could just reuse the design of the EVA harness.
Yeah.
Give it one large thruster and shoots you out. You come down. You get one harsh.
It
at the end, and
just before you impact, your EVA thrusters fire at max force, and yeah. I wanted the arresters from Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Anyone remembers that arrestor
The gel.
Yeah. What that stuff.
Oh, all right. But basically, we're not going to get a parachute. Like, we might get some things like gliders if CIG feels spicy or someone wants to do it as a side project.
I mean, honestly, a parachute would work, even though people said, like, well, not all moons have atmosphere. It still would work. Parachutes could be super light, made out of, like, tinfoil or some super strong alloy, and they'd still deploy and be able to slow your descent.
CIG themselves have said that they're not doing parachutes. Like, they've said it multiple times that they'll never do parachutes.
And the thing is, in theory, it wouldn't make sense because depending on the atmosphere, the
size of the
friction,
matters.
The size matters and so on and so forth. So it's easier to just do some sort of anti-grav module or whatever else you find fancy.
Each atmosphere is different, and that'll play into effect. And I know CIG could just hand wave magic it and that kind of stuff, but if they're already hand waving magic with like one parachute works on all atmospheres, then fuck it. Just throw a goddamn anti-grav belt on your butt and you're fine.
Or you could do the thing from Super Cop with Jackie Chan where it has that bubble that surrounds you and
exactly. And it's easier to do some of this stuff because they already have it in game. It's just a matter of like reusing resources. So or they said they won't do jetpacks either. I don't think they're doing jetpacks in the sense of like Starfield or Star Wars sort of jetpacks, but more because like this is going to sound weird. They have lore for jetpacks. Not only do they have lore for jetpacks, but it's been recently updated to make sure that you can search for jetpacks in the Galactopedia. Galactopedia has an article on jetpacks. So jetpacks exist in the Star Citizen universe. It's just a matter of what it actually means. So, all right. Next
I'll be
question.
honest.
Go ahead.
If those jetpacks fly like the hover bikes drive, I will never use one.
But I do agree that with how level design is and how the gameplay they want to do, it would ruin to have that kind of verticality. It would ruin that kind of maneuverability and verticality is like Titanfall or like Halo, where they're trying to go for something like Tarkov. So.
We'll probably see some sort of rope gun coming in.
Maybe.
And that will bring some verticality with it. And I don't think CIG would mind wrecking some of the level design, because if I think on the more modern level designs,
or you're talking about like rope guns so that you can like rappel up and down and kind of stuff.
Yeah. So especially if I think about some of the more modern designs, so more the caves than the actual bunkers. They would benefit from having the ability to just go, I'll shoot a rope, I'll climb up there, and I'll see what I find.
Too. Like you're gonna go like hand over hand, and it's Chris Roberts' game, so he'll want to simulate this a little bit.
The risk reward. I have an advantage, I get a disadvantage. that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The payoff.
But jetpack is like Mandalorian style. Just go, baby. I don't think it's happening.
All
right.
you could do it in the cave and you're dead. Broken head.
Our next question comes from Steve the Dancer, who asks, will we get the Galaxy by IAE this year? Zarrk, what do you think?
Oh, the Galaxy. I mean, they're working on it. It has a lot of RSI parts they are reusing. With some things already they took from the new one. It could be. It could actually be Galaxy with one model.
Was it in the preview thing they showed? Was it the
I think so.
Yeah. It was. So they plan to release it, and I can see them doing it 1 year roughly for a large ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I guess it will be only one module for now, and the other two will probably drop a couple months later or something. It's always hard with the large ships because there could be some things where they say, no, we have to redesign X, Y, Z, or so, and it could easily become Christmas or something.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
Vertigo, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see the Galaxy by IAE this year?
No.
I'd
be surprised. Let's see here. 75% certain we're not going to see the Galaxy this year.
Okay.
I just don't see a lot of like stuff coming out to like show us the Galaxy's actually being worked on. I don't remember anything at CitizenCon. They talked about base building with the Galaxy in CitizenCon, but we haven't seen the interior.
We haven't even seen the module for that yet. They haven't released it.
Yeah, I am more confident that the Polaris is coming out this year than the Galaxy.
Well, I mean, that's also like CIG has actually started working on the Polaris.
Exactly. We've seen at CitizenCon, CIG showed off the Polaris. Like, here's some torpedoes blown up at Idris.
Yeah. Right. They're working on the... Right, they aren't yet working on the Galaxy.
No, it's the Polaris, and then
it was that no Galaxy this year. I mixed it up with the Polaris.
Okay.
It's the Polaris, the IAE.
I do think the Polaris will be benefited from the Galaxy will benefit from the Polaris, but I think it's going to have to wait for after the Polaris.
Because they're both made by RSI, so the CIG will have more art, more practice. And they're both roughly the same size.
I have seen the Polaris is quite a bit larger than the Galaxy.
Galaxy's the size of like a...
It's a bit smaller than the Carrack. It's smaller than Carrack, I believe. It's 115 or something in length.
The Polaris is almost the size of a
175 or so.
Yeah, it's like it's almost the size of an Idris, which is like 200 something. So yeah.
So the thing is, though, I've seen one of the 3D mock-ups of the interior of the Galaxy. So if they have enough people and they can actually really go hard on we've done those hallways, we can just copy paste them for the Galaxy. We've done those windows, copy paste them for the Galaxy, and so on. They could bring the Polaris, let's say CitizenCon, and IAE the Galaxy. It would be possible. I don't think so.
Okay.
Simply because even though the Galaxy doesn't have a large interior, it's surprisingly small if you see it in a 3D mockup. And the cargo module wouldn't take a lot of work. It's still very ambitious. So it's possible, but not likely, in my opinion.
All right. Move on to we got 6 more questions. Del Ener asks, what are the chances CIG will be kind to us, simple people, this year and give us pizza? Listen.
I mean, I would love to see pizza deliveries in Star Citizen.
My contacts within CIG, it's the one thing I always talk to them when I talk with them, is when the fuck is pizza happening? I try to avoid all direct talk about anything internal from Star Citizen, and but when we talk, I go, I need pizza. When's pizza? And every time I tell them, they tell me straight up, it has to be done with this with the actor system, the new actor status system. That needs to be put into place. And that's the actor status system that's being used for Squadron. So it could make it this year because they want to move all the Squadron stuff to Star Citizen. And I think there's a high chance of a lot of that stuff making it in this year. But I think it's probably unlikely because they haven't mentioned it at all. So
small anecdote on that part. So I like to make my own pizza. So do the dough myself and so on. I tried a new dough recipe. Took a look at the recipe, did what they told me for 4 portions, so for 4 pieces. Made the dough, cut it in 4, made the first pizza, noticed the dough is far too thick. So now instead of 4 pieces, I have like another, like 3 pieces left. I have 6 pieces left. Not gonna complain, but yeah, very single-minded dinner that week.
All right. Next question comes from Caniac89, who asks, with the Galaxy being part of the RSI ship pipelines this year, do you think this means we might get ship modularity this year? I think we are getting ship modularity this year because they've already said
but not because of the Galaxy.
No.
Yeah, not because of the Galaxy.
Retaliator.
It's the Retaliator, yeah.
Yeah. It's the Retaliator and the NPUV. Those are the 2 ships that are going to have modularity first in Star Citizen.
So, well, actually, Paul, we already have it with the Aurora series. You can take the cargo module off the Aurora CL and put it off on any other Aurora.
I'm going to kill you, Vertigo. I'm going to throw you.
I know, right? You're going to kill me in game.
Yeah. In Minecraft. In Minecraft. I'm going to kill him in Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown off the Retaliator base. So they pretty much told us that they want to bring in the new module system this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. They showed it off they showed off the MPUV and the Retaliator in their like little like ships that they want to do in 2024, and I'm like, the only reason why they show off both those already released ships and their ships they want to do is because they add modularity to them, and those are both famously modular ships. So, yeah, 100%. Steve That Answer asks, we have heard nothing about the hacking gameplay. We have. It's just very basic, and it's been years. Where do you all think we will be? Where do all of you think we are at with it? Where we're at with it?
With like Star Citizen, how close are we to beta? How close are we to release?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. We just don't have enough updates. I know the Legionnaire was shown off on that preview list, but I couldn't tell you if CIG will pull a CIG move and be like, technically boarding can happen, you can dock, so it's in and not have anything to do with hacking. So I don't know.
But the thing is, with Maelstrom coming in, I think the Legionnaire will get a slight update to its docking collar because it might be able to just
punch holes
crash into the hull.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to have that. I don't think
Kool-Aid Man.
I don't think you're going to have a Kool-Aid Man through ship's hull. I think that's going to be very specific ships during Squadron 42.
I don't know. I do think you, with the new Maelstrom system, you'll be able to punch holes through ships. I think that's the whole point of it.
It might be something like you have to.
I don't think you're gonna dock like that.
Close. So I can see, like, if you disable a ship, you can fly in close, attach your docking. Let's call it docking collar, and you have to hold it for a certain time, and it will just cut a hole in there and you can go in. Might bring a whole lot of problems with it. So what if you are between 2 decks or something? But I can see them do it. I mean, cutting a hole into the hull of a ship with Maelstrom is possible. Saying, okay, you need to... It takes, let's say, 30 seconds to cut the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to disable the ship for at least 30 seconds, and then you have to be stable to make it work. So
That's the problem, though. I don't think you're going to be able to latch onto the side of the hole with the sucker end of that the mosquito that is the Legionnaire.
I can't see them do that.
I don't think so. Star Maniac asked a question about where we're going to get the new star map this year. We already answered that in the first part of the series, and I think most of us said yes, but as to when, early to late, I don't know. Like, I think we were all kind of all over the place with that one. Some of us said early this year, that some of us said later. So, did you see Citizen Con? You just walk up to the window, point your gun at them, and ask if you want fries with that. Yeah. All right. Next question comes from Steve the Dancer, who asks, oh, no, that was the one we said. Yeah. Delionaire, actually. Is there a chance CIG will finally allow players to keep Stanton clean by using the SRV and salvage ships this year? It's a mess.
You can do it if you don't mind soaking some crime stat.
Yeah. I think they could do it in a way where you could drop off ships, abandoned ships at like dumpers or at the junkyards and sell them for parts.
Yeah.
But I think that would require a whole new system, though I do think that would be a valuable long-term system. So, yeah.
So tech-wise, dropping off ships at a junkyard wouldn't be that hard.
No, they already have a lot of that stuff in there. The question is more selling it and because ownership is the issue. Like when you pick it up,
disposing of it, selling it, having NPCs scrap it.
Yeah.
The whole disposing thing is easy. You have a cargo elevator. You drop the ship on top.
Yeah, it's just a hangar essentially.
That's a giant elevator. Yeah.
I mean, it's extra large hangar size from Grim Hex. It opens up, you drop the ship in there, it closes. Boom.
You'd also have to add that to the that'd be a different art set too style. They'd have to add that to the location and stuff like that. So
I mean, really simple. You just have a scaled up cargo elevator. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That would be it. Especially considering the SRV can't take too large of a ship, if we consider atmosphere and such things.
Or you could just have beams as well, like the scrapping beams from the Reclaimer. Just have those on a crane, and just it turns and points at whatever you drop off, and it just disintegrates it, and you get paid or something.
Yeah. With the ownership,
they needs to set it up. They need to set it up so that ownership is void.
I'm not sure what the Actor System 2.0 entails, but considering full persistence coming up, they do and Reputation T2, they do have to kind of think about what happens if player X leaves his ship on Microtech for 10 days. Or might never return, and someone finds it, opens it, gets a crime stat. It doesn't make sense. So I could actually see some sort of change coming with the new actor status system, with the Reputation T2, whatever. Maybe with the way crime stat will work, if that's within actors Reputation T2. That if the ship is left on the planet for X amount, and the player is not there, or the ship is destroyed on the planet for X amount, or in soft dead on the planet for X amount, it becomes ownerless. You can pick it up and bring it away. There are mechanics to do that. Does it happen? I am not sure. I would like to see those mechanics, because CIG is always talking about how they want to ensure that the server stays clean. So I could see them, and considering we have the new mission types and such things, or new missions coming in, going in and creating a mission where, okay, if on a certain place there are X amount of ships, we spawn on mission for SRVs, take the ship, bring it to the junkyard. Done. And yeah, the junkyard itself is easy to do, in my opinion. The thing is the ownership of the ship, but even this could be
the Bishops talks about how how it's kind of it's abandoned. If it's abandoned, it's also owned by game rules. But if you destroy it, then you get a crime stat, because like the game decides that if you destroy an abandoned vehicle, it becomes unlawful. It's like you're doing a crime. So that's the problem. So
they might be able to circumvent it if you really have like those cargo elevators on the junkyard where you drop it down.
Yeah,
and
but by towing it itself, it gives you like by activating it unlawful, like you get a crime stat for activating it. So that's the problem. So, all right, but I do agree. It's possible. There are ways you can do it. I just think it requires CIG to think about it, and I don't know if CIG has the mental processing power that they can dedicate to that while they've got so many other things on their plate. Is more the issue. It's like, is it something that that they want to dedicate resources to, which is probably a temporary solution until they can deal with other things. So
I'll say if it comes with a mission type done by Elliot. So like,
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, there could even be like, okay, if you accept the mission, you are immune to crimes that due to damaging one of those ships.
Yeah. I mean, that would require some sort of dynamic system, though, or like the game starts spawning missions for you to like tow away abandoned vehicles. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we already have missions that are on a trigger, like money for nothing.
Yeah, are those? But those are like game spawn ships, though, aren't they?
No, money from nothing is you have to deactivate the comm so you can go down to the relics to start the computers uplink so you can generate money.
Yeah,
so, there's illegal salvage missions where you literally just have to move the ship, and the SRV pilots are already doing that right now.
Yeah,
you're supposed to like destroy the ship with the reclaimer, scrape the hull, munch the ship. And that's how you're supposed to complete the mission. In reality, you just show up in SRV, track the ship, and haul it away, and then suddenly the mission's over once it leaves the mission area.
It's out of the area,
yeah.
So, in theory, with player... So, I mean, the game tracks player vehicles, so if we have around New Burbage, there are 10 ships, hey, we have too many ships here, throw them in a junkyard.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, we got 2 more questions. Shimpasta asks, after PES's terrible rollout, it seems to have stabilized, I guess, and people don't talk about it anymore. Does this mean PES has been successful? I mean, it's successful at what it's supposed to do, but there's almost nothing that's going to be 100% the same, if that makes sense. Like everything you add in is going to change over time. We get ready.
The thing is, PES itself isn't very visible. So, yes, it is successful because it works. Does it change anything massively? Not really for most people. So, in theory, you have to think about it like this. This is persistence part 1. We get full persistence. That's when you see what PES is actually doing for you or for the game. And then you get server meshing with pyro, larger player numbers, and so on and so forth. That's when you see the final part of what PES is doing. But until then, yes, it was successful. Yes, you won't notice it when it's working. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be.
CIG isn't replacing it. Like that's for sure. We know that they're keeping it around for now, and it seems to be they're wanting to build systems on top of it. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's successful. Yeah, but it really depends on what you're like. If the question is more going on with because I know there was a lot of people who were like, PES has failed. They need to rebuild everything from scratch. Oh no, the sky is falling.
It's welcome to Star Citizen. When CIG releases a new feature, it doesn't work that well.
Yeah. So
we're still struggling with the exact same bugs we had years ago today. And
did they finally fix
when we get to beta, that's when permanent fixes will start showing up and being
Does any of you know if they fixed the bug with the front lift of the reclaimer? Well, I know there was a long time when you went up, you had to jump at the right position because otherwise you fell through the elevator.
I think that's fixed. Sometimes
That's
the elevator
fixed?
doesn't
Okay.
work, but I think it works now. If you can actually, if it actually deploys.
Okay, if it deploys, it works.
Yeah.
At least something.
All right. So the last question we have is from 2010, who asks, how many more ship passes will it need to implement all future features?
Yes.
At least 42.
Yes. That's the answer.
Yes.
I think 2010 is responding to the Reclaimer. Is the question 2010? Can you reiterate what your question is?
Yeah.
If your question is how many ship passes will all the ships answer, no one fucking knows. Not even CIG.
Yeah. So the thing is, we have a couple of features most ships need an update on. With every new ship, that ship gets all the newest features, and they learn something new, they think about something new, so on and so forth. In essence, every ship needs one pass. That's once it was the gold standard, now it's, I believe, the
whatever they call it. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
CIG could call
The
it
platinum,
the,
iridium, diamond standard. Yeah.
Yeah,
they could call it the Bob
final
standard. No one
standard.
gives a shit. It's just
Yeah.
the making it up to the current status. So
the thing is, the thing is, they do some of those passes or those reworks on ships now.
Mhm.
Famously, the Gladius, because it's a test bed, so they put in everything.
yeah, because it's a
And I believe the Gladius had like 5 gold passes or gold standard glow ups or something. At least it feels like that. So if they take a ship now and do the whole polish it up to put everything in that's there, that ship gets another one 2 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, whoever knows.
Mhm.
In essence, it would only need one. It probably gets at least 2 or 3, depending on when they pull through the first one.
I'm referring to the. He's saying I'm referring to the fact it seems like it's going to go on forever. It is.
Yeah. I mean, how many reworks is the Constellation on? At least 3.
They're going to be more. Even after Star Citizen's release, they're going to go back and fix some of the ships that they want to fix. It's a never-ending process. So
yeah.
So I'll say you will see the first big wave of let's call it rig standard.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what's
the rig
engineering,
standard.
the resource side controller.
I like it. I like it, the rig standard.
That's the pass where all ships get their component hatches integrated. They get space reshuffled. Where's which component? Do I have enough space? And so on. Especially the older ones will have. I am already curious about the freelancer because I know that there's some issue with there might be some issue with the space.
They're definitely redoing the. They've already redone or it's not in the game, but they've already finished the game yet. I think it's going to be in 3.23. Yeah. But they've redid the interior for the of the freelancer so it can support components. They've already done that component update. So
that's the first thing. They will make sure that every component can be physicalized within the ship. They will probably have some ships where they have to rethink where some components are because can I exchange those components? Very famously, the engine bay within the Reclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not practical. You only have a ladder to go down there. You can't bring anything up or down. With the tractor beam, you could try, but it's a narrow hole.
It's one of those situations where CIG developed a ship before they actually knew what that ship was supposed to do, or mechanics was going to work, and now they're caught there going, "Well, fuck."
And then they will probably, and they might use that opportunity to polish up some of the ships, so they have light switches on the older ship, especially on the older ships, that they finally get some.
I noticed today when I was operating inside the Reclaimer that there was like a new button in the hallway I was playing with another guy. I was doing 0 to hero, and someone's like, "Hey, Vertigo, let's play together. I got a reclaimer." So my 0 to hero was like, "Hey, you win the game, Vertigo."
Yeah.
But I'm walking through the reclaimer to like unplug the dispenser, and I'm like, "Hey, what does this button do?" There was like a new button in the middle of the hallway I've never seen before on the reclaimer. And the guy's like, "That doesn't sound like a good thing to say." And I press the button, it turns the lights off in the hallway. I'm like, "Oh, cool, it's a light switch."
Yeah. It's like a lot of ships are getting the like all of the
light switches and whatnot.
All of the cutlasses and all of like the Drake ships are starting to get those buttons, the same buttons. So
yeah, and then if we have the rig standard, I'll say we get the, let's call it the HUD standard. That's when the custom HUDs for every ship manufacturer and so on come on. That's when you will see the MFDs on the cockpits change, where they are orientated, are they there, where do they place them. We might see some changes to the buttons on the elevators. We might see some changes to buttons in general, that they now have a different shape. All those things. And then after the HUD standard, there will be the new, let's call it the gold standard, where the ship gets polished, bugs get fixed, and then it could be ready.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's at least what I think might happen.
You're going to see, even then, you're going to see like new standards come up, because they're going to keep changing things around, and there are so many problems with so many ships, because CIG sold ships before they were ready to be sold and used, and bought them up so that people could fly them, but then didn't realize.
I think eventually CIG, like going off what you're saying, Paul, CIG is essentially going to have to throw their hands up and say fuck it and just let certain ships just be bad.
Yeah, they will.
They're going to put stuff where it fits, wherever the stupid relay system works. Just put it there. That looks like shit. Fuck it, get it done. Move on to the next ship.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'd love that, because let's face it, that makes the whole thing real.
There's so many places. There's so many like planes and cars and trains and other vehicles that they were designed, and someone said, who the fuck thought of this? It's like, it fucking worked at the time, and now everything's changed. So
I've been
the Carrack, you have to like literally remove part of the hull to replace something. Why do you have to do that? Because the designer is an idiot? No, because the designer didn't know where things were. But in lore, it could be like, because the designer's an idiot and didn't think about this, and they're just like, we need it.
I've been working as a driver a couple years back for a car agency, and I had different cars to drive, and it's crazy how bad some cars are.
Yeah, in terms of designs. Yeah.
No, not just designs. So the one car, I think it was one of the newer Mercedes, where the gear shift is not next to you, but it's kind of strange behind the driving wheel.
I've seen some of this older vehicles.
The steering wheel.
Yeah.
Then you have the Renaults, which all sound wrong. So every time you use the signals or something, it just sounds wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Opel, which is just... So every Opel we had in the fleet had those distance sensors, which every car nowadays has. But instead of going on when you need them, they are always on.
Yeah, okay. So what you're saying is that it builds character for those for like the idea of having some ships which is designed with just weird things to them. So yeah,
just having something badly designed is fine.
Yeah, because people just won't use the thing. They'll use whatever. The meta will be like whatever ships are good, and eventually people will figure out which ships are designed well and which ships have poor design, and they'll use the ships that are good. The majority of the player base will use the good ships. But if CIG wants to keep making ships and making money off them, you're going to have some stinkers, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what they could do, and what I hope they will do, is counter the meta, which they could. So listen to me here.
Mm-hmm.
We have the UAE, which actually is very heterogenic in terms of what systems you have. You have very rich systems like Terra, Stanton. You have very poor systems like Pyro. You have very empty systems. You have very hazardous systems. So there could be very well designed ships, but if they're expensive or need special care to work and other things, let's take an 890 jump. Assuming the 890 jump is the best designed ship, fine, but it's also the most expensive. You can only repair it in special yardages or harbors. You need special this, special that. You can use it fine if you're in Terra. If you're in Pyro, you're kinda fucked. So what do? You use the badly designed caterpillar where you have to go like, I need to rip up 2 meters of duct tape so I can get to the component, so I can remove it to get to the component that's behind it, so I can exchange the relay that's behind that component, put both back. Then I have to duct tape everything back together so it holds, and then I can fly again. But I can get it repaired in Pyro.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If they go kind of the route where, sure, there's a best gun or a best in slot item, but there's like a small print, and the small print says only with a new, well-developed, very expensive, high-sec systems,
voiding your warranty if you try to repair it outside.
So you're talking about like I don't know much about EVE Online, but you're talking about like T2 fits in EVE Online, where there's different qualities of weapons and equipment you can have. Like T1 is the worst, T2 is middle of the road, T3 is the highest. I think there's something above T3, but everybody uses a T2 fit in their ships because it's easy to manufacture, they're cheap, and in EVE Online, when you go to war, it's generally speaking attrition that determines who's going to win the war.
It's logistics and attrition rather than
logistics. Yeah, so you could bring there's been wars against like large organizations in EVE Online, and one organization brings inevitably everybody starts out with their best stuff, and eventually it turns into like just milling and grudge matching, just grinding up, lots of little ships with just horrible whatever grungy fit you got. That's why everybody like a T2 fit is like your best bet in EVE Online, because you could support that throughout the entire war effort.
Yeah. Or the best example I like to bring is, imagine you have a pistol in Star Citizen. It has 5 shots. The pistol, and you can one-shot a constellation with this pistol. Sounds completely overpowered. Now, I'll tell you, you can only buy this pistol on Earth. You need maximum reputation with Earth. The pistol itself costs you 50 million. With any shot is another 23 millions. And after 5 shots, you have to bring the pistol back to the guy so he can repair it for another 40 million.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
With Star Citizen being an RMT nightmare, people will just buy UEC off gold sellers, or just buy the pistol straight. Or they'll find a way to duplicate the pistol using hacks. Yeah. So people talk about munitions like torpedoes and whatnot, the Retaliator. Oh, if we just increase the price of the Retaliator's torpedoes, but it'll make the Retaliator less onerous, right? It'll make it less more dealable to everybody.
What he's saying is more like, if things require specialty maintenance and only locations, then it will reduce it doesn't matter if it's a meta, if it's as you said, like the EVE comparison, like there's no point in using it if it like just because it's meta, you'll risk losing everything for it because you fire it twice and it breaks, and now you have to fly 4 systems.
But if it works, if you fire it twice and it breaks, but it kills what you're firing at, and that what you're shooting at is like valuable enough, like an Idris or a Javelin or something.
Yeah, but now you have to fly all the way fucking back to Terra for fucking.
Or you just dispose of it. You just throw it away. Like if it's broken, who gives a shit? It did its job.
But the thing is, you just spend. So you shoot 2 constellations. Now you spend 100 million to kill 5 million ships? 5 million worth of ships with 2 constellations?
And people will do that. People literally, like I told you before, like Star Citizen is going to have an RMT problem. They're selling credits on the RSI website. eBay is selling hundreds of millions of credits. Yeah. So money is not going to be a problem for some people that have the option, that have the bank account, right?
I know. The thing is, sure, people will be able to do that. But the point I'm trying to make is you can create things that are very strong, But if it's so impractical to use that you don't care about, that's the whole point of the issue.
Then why create the thing? If it's so impractical to use and so overpowered, nobody use it, why make it, right? And that's going to happen in Star Citizen. We're going to have items that are going to be really best in slot, but nobody's going to use them.
That's what
I like how we're going back to my points that I made with EVE Online, where nobody uses T3 fits because they're financially unsustainable. Like, you can use them, but then you lose them.
That was the point.
Like,
we're talking in circles at this point.
Yeah. What's the next question, Paul? Let's move on to the next question.
That was the last question, so I was going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So,
just one last thing. The big thing about Star Citizen is you could dial this down even more detailed than in EVE, because every system could have their own economy that supports one specific type of weapon or ammunition. So every system would have their own meta. And that would ruin the meta game in the big big picture, because
it's like Tukiet, where it's a MechWarrior concept, but clans brought a bunch of AC weapons which required ammo, and the Inner Sphere brought a bunch of laser weapons that didn't. And they were better. The clanners were better overall in technology, but they ran out of ammo. So you can't fucking kill anything with that ammo, and they can shoot you from a long distance. The same idea, So.
A lot of wars in Star Citizen are going to come down to logistics, just like the real world. Like if you could deny the enemy ammo, fuel, and food, and water, and oxygen, which is eventually going to be a thing, like life support in your starship.
That's Rick. Thank Rick.
Yep, the Rick system.
That's where the Eclipse will shine. The Eclipse is only there to destroy logistics.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for Zarrk and HC Vertigo. Make sure you check out HC Vertigo at twitch.tv/HC Vertigo, youtube.com/HC Vertigo, and you'll check his streams out. He streams far more often than I do, and plays a lot more gameplay than I do. And does lots of other scientific stuff. You can find Zarrk on my Discord, Exploration Discord and chat. And if you look at the links down below on the YouTube, you'll find it. And we do a lot of lore stuff where we do League of Relic Enthusiasts, where you'll find stuff. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit that follow button on Twitch, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, make sure you write it down. Write down in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts on any of this stuff. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black.
Who we raiding?